Sometimes, nature creates moments so surreal, even your eyes won't believe they're real. Yes, you hear that right. Today we're diving into the most unbelievable moments in nature that look totally fake, but they're 100% real. These moments are so unbelievable, you'll question if they were digitally created. But don't worry, everything you're about to witness is 100% real. Let's dive in and see what nature has up its sleeve. Vanishing monster in the bay. Nobody saw it coming. A massive typhoon suddenly formed right inside Fort Lauderdale Bay, like nature had just flipped a switch. Within seconds, it tore through the port, flipping boats and sending chaos across the water. But just as fast as it appeared, it vanished into the clouds, like it had never been there. People were shaken, debris was everywhere, but thankfully, very few lives were lost. Even rescuers couldn't believe the destruction left behind. The finger of death. What this diver discovered was straight out of a nightmare. Deep in the ocean, he saw something strange, an underwater icicle slowly reaching toward the seabed. It was a brinacle, also called the finger of death. This happens when super salty cold water leaks into the sea and freezes everything it touches, and once that deadly finger hits the ocean floor, it kills any living creature in its path. Luckily, the diver got out just in time. Smoke with no fire. You'd swear something was burning. Thin, dark streaks were rising into the sky like smoke from a wildfire. But there was no fire, just a buzzing sound in the air. This eerie scene was actually a massive swarm of insects, so many they blocked the sunlight. From far away, it looked like black smoke. Up close, it was nature's version of a horror movie. Racing the rain. This driver didn't just dodge the rain, he raced it. On a long, empty road, the storm was chasing him like it had a mind of its own. You could see the wall of rain falling just behind the car. It became a strange and funny moment. Who would win, the car or the clouds? The sand-cut giant? In the middle of the Saudi desert stands a stone monument, carved not by hands but by time. This jaw-dropping rock formation was shaped by millions of sand grains whipped around by storms. Over the years, nature chiseled it into a rare masterpiece. Sadly, it won't last forever. One day, the desert will take it back. So, if you ever get the chance, go see it while you can. The earth breathes fire. People stood frozen, jaws wide open. A geyser suddenly exploded into the sky, sending water and steam bursting out of the earth like a living beast. Even though geysers erupt all the time, seeing one up close is something else. The ancient Greeks were so fascinated by these wonders, they invented fountains to copy them. Nothing man-made ever truly matches the real thing. The gate to hell. Deep in China, there's a fiery crack in the earth that locals call the gate to hell. And it's not hard to see why. Flames pour out of it day and night, and the air around it burns at nearly 800 degrees Celsius. No one knows how deep it goes because no one can get close enough to measure. You don't just see the fire, you feel it in your bones. The oil that killed the ocean. In 2010, the Gulf of Mexico turned black. An oil platform exploded, sending fire and smoke into the sky. The flames were put out fast, but the oil kept leaking, spreading poison into the water. Sea life died, beaches were ruined, and cleanup took years. It was one of the worst man-made disasters the ocean had ever seen. Foam City. People woke up to a strange sight. The streets were completely buried under a thick layer of white foam, like the whole city had taken a bubble bath. But this wasn't fun or funny. The foam was a chemical mess, not from nature, but from human neglect. Environmentalists were horrified, warning that the damage could spread if it wasn't stopped fast. Little flames of doom. When a volcano spits out fire, it's already terrifying. But when that fire glows blue, that's next level scary. These rare blue flames come from gas burning under high pressure, and sometimes mixing with metals like arsenic or copper. It looks unreal, almost beautiful. But don't get too close. It's one of the deadliest sights in nature. The flying fish with a plan. You won't believe what this fish just did. It didn't just jump out of the water like others do. It aimed straight for a narrow pipe and flew right into it. With that kind of accuracy and strength, you'd think it had a pilot's license. All for one reason: freedom. Nothing was going to stop it, not even gravity. Trees crushed by the wind. They looked strong, didn't they? Tall, green, and full of life. But then came the wind, and it knocked them down like they were matchsticks. If you weren't watching the footage yourself, you'd never believe it. That's how powerful nature can be when it decides to flex its muscles. Monster cyclone on the horizon. When people looked out to the sea, they saw something terrifying, a giant cyclone slowly moving toward the land. It looked like a mountain made of clouds. Everyone hoped it would only bring rain, but with storms like this, you can never be too sure. Nature doesn't give warnings, it just arrives. The river that's not water. And dipping his hand into a dirty river, right? But wait, it's not water at all. That's a fast-flowing mix of sand and ice, sliding like liquid but deadly if you touch it. This rare natural event happened in Iraq in 2024, something people hadn't seen for many years. Lightning strikes the sleeping giant. The volcano was dead, or so they thought. It had been asleep for thousands of years, but as a cameraman stood filming, a bolt of lightning suddenly crashed straight into its summit. That moment turned into a once-in-a-lifetime shot. Even nature seemed to help him capture it. Clouds that fall like water. Have you ever seen clouds behave like a waterfall? From a distance, it looked like fog, but then it started tumbling off the cliff like real water. It was such a magical and emotional scene, the kind that stays in your heart forever. Ocean Secret masterpiece. You'd think this artwork was made by a famous artist, but no, it's the ocean itself, drawing mysterious and beautiful patterns on the sand with its waves. No brush, no paint, just pure natural wonder at work. A cloud from another planet. One evening in Turkey, people looked up and froze. In the sky, a strange round cloud appeared, glowing in the setting sun. It kept changing shape slowly, looking more and more like something from a sci-fi movie. Phones came out and the skies turned into a live show, swimming in firelight. Most people avoid cold water, but this man, he's calmly swimming in a pool lit with hundreds of candle lights, and guess what? He's not alone. Others joined too. Maybe their swimsuits are heat-proof, or maybe they just don't feel the cold anymore. Boiling spring of sulfur. There's a spring that never stays still. It's constantly bubbling and shifting thanks to the sulfur in the soil reacting with other elements. The air smells strong, the ground steams, and the water dances. It's nature doing chemistry in real time. Eye of the Earth or Gate to the Deep. In Croatia, there's a spring so deep and blue that people call it the Eye of the Earth. But when you stare into it, it feels like looking into the unknown. Maybe Gate to the Depths would be a better name. Whatever you call it, the place is breathtaking and protected by law. Lenticular clouds are rare on their own, but this? A whole group of them appeared in one place, hovering like alien ships frozen in time. No one knows why they came together, but they made the sky look like something from a fantasy world. The glowing ghost of the sea. Jellyfish are already weird, but this one takes the crown. It doesn't just float, it glows, moves like silk, and looks like it came from another planet. Among jellyfish, this one's definitely in a league of its own. Hidden danger in the dried riverbed. You might think this is just a dried up riverbed, right? But take a closer look. Those little puddles scattered around, they're not so harmless. Some of them are only a few centimeters deep, while others drop down a couple of meters. Locals and tourists love dipping their feet in, but only the brave ones go exploring underwater, never knowing how deep it'll suddenly get. The white orcas struggle. Now this is something you don't see every day, a snow-white orca swimming through the deep sea like a ghost. Albinism can affect any living creature, and this poor guy stands out like a spotlight in the ocean. With no way to blend in, hunting becomes a risky game of survival. Being different in the wild isn't always a gift, it can be a curse. Backward winds of the cliff. Have you ever seen the wind flow backwards? On certain coastal cliffs, it looks like nature is glitching. Strong gusts push ocean spray upward, defying gravity like magic. It's wild to watch, almost like the wind is showing off its own rebellious side. Rainbow meets lightning. It's rare enough to see a rainbow, but what if lightning decides to join the party? When these two show up at the same time, it turns the sky into something from another world. Thunder cracks, colors shine, and for a few seconds, it's like watching a painting come to life. The glowing rock trick. At first glance, it looks like a glowing piece of alien crystal, but don't let the cave lights fool you. This is sodalite, a deep blue gemstone laced with white veins. Under regular light, it's calm and cool, but under UV cave lights, it lights up like it's got electricity running through it. Water that refused to stop. Now this is powerful. A tiny spring pushing its way through solid rock, refusing to give up. Over time, it carved a little fountain all by itself. Water might be soft, but when it sets its mind on something, even stone can't stop it. That's nature showing off. The bird tree mystery. Something strange happened with this tree. Out of nowhere, birds started landing one by one until the branches were covered like feathers on a wing. Was it a signal, shelter, or just one of nature's weird moments? Either way, it looked like the tree had grown wings of its own. Iceberg sudden fury. These people were just out enjoying a boat ride when nature reminded them who's boss. A huge chunk of an iceberg snapped off right beside them, sending waves crashing in every direction. They had seconds to escape before the freezing water rushed toward them, heart-stopping and unforgettable. Lightning hits the road. A calm drive during a storm turned into something out of a movie. Lightning came down hard and fast, striking a car like it was chosen by the sky itself. Miraculously, no one was hurt. But that kind of hit, it leaves more than just a mark on your car. It leaves a memory you'll never forget. Regret on the shore. Something about the way this sea creature lay helpless on the shore made you stop and stare. It looked like it regretted every moment that let it out of the ocean. But what was worse? The careless way people treated it. Instead of helping, they added to its misery. A sad reminder that we share this world with creatures who deserve better. Lava trash trap. Throwing trash into a volcano might sound like the coolest idea ever, right? Wrong. It's like poking a sleeping monster with a stick. The burning garbage doesn't just vanish, it releases toxic fumes and can even trigger eruptions. So yeah, it's not clever, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Fish that forgot how to swim. You won't believe what evolution did to this poor fish. It started turning into something else, grew legs, and then it forgot how to swim. Now these frogfish just wobble around on the seabed like confused little creatures that missed the memo on what they were supposed to be. Sea pigs of the deep. Way down at the bottom of the ocean, where sunlight never reaches, lives one of the strangest things you'll ever hear about. Sea pigs. These creatures, called scotoplanes, crawl across the ocean floor like tiny ancient ghosts, looking more like pigs than anything that should be underwater. Rainbow of bad luck. Back in the old days, people would freak out at the sight of a white rainbow. They thought it meant something bad was about to happen. But guess what? It's just light bouncing through clouds. No curses, no disasters, just a beautiful trick of the sun. Storm-busting dog. This dog, he's not just a good boy, he's a superhero in disguise. You'll see him calmly walking into dust whirlwinds and snapping them out like it's nothing. While most of us would run for cover, he just keeps the peace like it's his daily job. Clouds that mean business. These clouds aren't just dramatic, they're a full-blown threat, rolling in like giants. They might not bring doom, but they sure do bring a lot of rain. For people living nearby, it's like watching the sky turn into a warning sign. Watch your step in the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean hides something pretty deadly and sneaky. The flower sea urchin. Step on one and you'll feel it right away. Their sting can cause sharp pain and even temporary paralysis. Not enough to kill you, but definitely enough to ruin your vacation. This sea creature might look soft and gentle, but touch it and it snaps into defense mode like a ninja. The sea anemone doesn't mess around. It's amazing how fast it reacts, folding into itself to protect from threats we can't even see. Mud volcano awakens. You hear a bubbling sound and suddenly, boom! This isn't a mountain, it's a mud volcano and it's about to erupt. Hot, sticky mud bursts out like an underground beast breaking free. If you're nearby, take a step back, or better yet, run. Lake that sings with ice. There's a lake where the ice doesn't just float, it sings. Tidal waves gently push thousands of tiny ice pieces onto the shore, creating a sound that's like soft music. People go there not just to see, but to listen. Man versus mosquito army. It takes guts to face a swarm of bloodsuckers alone, but this man, armed in full gear, did exactly that. While most of us would scream and run, he stood his ground, facing the buzzing horror like it was just another day outside. The worm with arms. At first, you think it's just a giant worm, but then you see the tiny limbs. This Mexican mole lizard is a strange creature that looks like evolution couldn't decide what it wanted. A worm with legs? Yep, and it's very real. In the sky. Something was floating up there, silently, like a message from another world. A perfect ring suspended in the sky with no obvious reason. Some say it's smoke, some say it's something else. Either way, it's one mystery we haven't cracked yet. Earth cracks in two. You think the ground is always solid? Think again. In Africa, tectonic forces ripped the land open, almost splitting the entire continent in two. The crack is massive and terrifying. Nature's way of reminding us who's really in charge. Hail with no rules. You'd think hail only falls during cold weather, but guess what? This icy nightmare doesn't care about your climate, your season, or your location. It can strike anywhere, anytime, and when those stones get big enough, it's like the sky itself is throwing punches. Some storms have left cities shattered and cars looking like Swiss cheese. That's why many people now call it a natural disaster in disguise. Peru's angry volcano. For 8 terrifying years, it never stopped. Back in 1990, the Southern Kaya volcano in Peru erupted and just kept going. It's one of the most active volcanoes on the planet, and during that time, the entire region around it felt like the edge of the world. Lava, ash, and fear rolled across the land non-stop. Rose safe by seconds. It started with a few tiny rocks rolling down the cliff. The driver sensed danger, hit reverse, and just in time. Seconds later, a thunderous landslide crashed down, burying the road under tons of rubble. Parked cars didn't stand a chance, but thankfully no lives were lost. A split-second decision saved everyone else. People sometimes ignore warnings about trees brushing against power lines until something sparks and chaos hits. This was one of those cases where a simple trim could have saved a ton of damage. But when people refuse to act, nature takes over in ways they'll regret. Rainbow treasure hunt. Legends say gold waits at the end of a rainbow, but this man, he took it literally. There he was, speeding across the water in his little boat, chasing a rainbow like it was leading him to a pot of gold. Whether he found treasure or not, we've got to admit, he had some serious hope. Ice hole nightmare. Some things you just can't unsee. There was this hole in the ice, but it didn't look normal. The shape was so bizarre, people with trypophobia, fear of tiny holes and patterns, had to look away. Nature sometimes creates stuff that feels more alien than earthly. The immovable rock. It's been sitting there for over 1,000 years, perched on a hillside, touching the ground with just a sliver of its surface. Many have tried to push it, pull it, or knock it down, but even a herd of elephants couldn't make it budge. That rock isn't just stuck. It's like the mountain made a promise to never let it go. Waterfall from the sky. At first, it looks like a magical waterfall dropping straight from the clouds, but when you look closely, you realize it's an illusion, just a giant rock wrapped tightly in mist and fog. Still, the view feels like something from a fantasy film. Nature, once again, plays tricks on our eyes. Wild desert wanderers. They look harmless at first, dry bushes just rolling along the ground, but these tumbleweeds can be trouble. Sometimes they cover highways, slam into cars, or pile up so high they block entire streets. Most days, they just drift in the wind, living the wildest life a plant could ever dream of. China's bizarre fun. If you think your weekend plans are weird, wait till you see how China does entertainment. From upside-down rides to mechanical beasts, they've got the kind of fun that leaves tourists confused and locals laughing. Strange? Yes, but they sure know how to enjoy themselves. Trees that bent the rules. Somewhere in a quiet meadow, rows of trees grow in strange, perfect curves. No one knows why. Some blame magnetic forces, others think humans had a hand in it, but honestly, no explanation really makes sense. It's one of nature's weirdest unsolved puzzles. Mystery over Spain. People looked up and saw something blazing across the sky, but no one could explain it. Was it a meteor, a comet, or something not from this world? That strange light vanished into the night, leaving behind only questions and a trail of theories. Frozen in time. It's like winter pressed pause and never hit play again. A snowy village buried deep in white looked like something from a fairy tale. Even the deer stood frozen in place. Some said it felt like the Snow Queen herself had taken control and she wasn't letting go anytime soon. Rolling Rock surprise. Everything looked peaceful until a huge rock came tumbling down the hill. It picked up speed fast, then landed right across the road, stopping traffic in its tracks. Lucky for everyone, no one was standing in its way. One more second, and this story could have ended badly. Mud stream of doom. This wasn't just a puddle. It was a river of thick mud and clay flowing like melted chocolate with a dark secret. It oozed with power, slowly swallowing anything in its path, and watching it move made your skin crawl. Nature can be beautiful, but sometimes it's just plain scary. Coastline of floating rocks. You won't believe what's floating along the coast in Okinawa. After a volcanic eruption, the shoreline got covered in a layer of something that looks like stones, but they float. It's called pumice, and while locals have gotten used to it, tourists are often left stunned. But behind the beauty, there's danger too. Huge boulders once rolled onto the beach, almost crushing people nearby. Maybe it's time someone put up a warning sign. River that moved on its own? People were shocked when the riverbed in a small Indian stream suddenly began to rise like something alive was pushing it from underneath. No earthquake, no heavy rain, just earth lifting out of water. Some say it's due to bad soil management, but no one really knows the truth. Nature doesn't always explain itself. Sleepy giants underwater? This diver got lucky in the best way possible. While exploring the deep, he caught a peaceful moment on camera. Giant sperm whales fast asleep, standing still like statues. These whales barely sleep, and when they do, it's for minutes at a time. Capturing this rare sight without waking them is something truly magical. Electrified in the desert. One moment you're exploring the desert, the next your hair is sticking up like you're in a cartoon. A group of tourists felt this firsthand when the desert's electric field went wild. One girl's hair rose so dramatically, it looked like static electricity had taken over the entire area. Desert trips don't usually come with a built-in science experiment. Fishing on the run. You've never seen fishing like this. Along the shore, some fishermen are sprinting with nets, chasing the tide as waves rush in. It looks chaotic, but their speed and timing let them scoop up fish in the most unexpected way. It's like surfing, but with dinner at the end. Strange guy visitor. When people looked up that evening, they didn't expect to see a glowing object drifting through the sky. It wasn't a plane, and it didn't move like a star. It was eerie and unexplainable, and those who saw it still talk about it like a scene from a sci-fi movie. Northern ice might look peaceful, but it hides deadly secrets. One moment you're admiring the view, the next your boat could be flipped by a small chunk hiding underwater. Icebergs don't always show their full size, and underestimating them has cost lives. The beauty is real, but so is the risk. Streets full of sea foam. The ocean rolled in and brought a surprise with it. Entire city streets were suddenly filled with sea foam, rising up like fluffy clouds on the ground. It looked playful, almost magical, but no one could agree on why it happened. Was it natural algae or pollution? That answer matters, because it could be harmless or toxic. Lightning missed by inches. This driver probably doesn't know how close he came to death. A bolt of lightning struck just beside his car, and somehow he walked away untouched. It wasn't just luck. It was like the sky missed him on purpose. People say he must have been born in a suit of armor. Tating ocean beauties. You'll have to look closely to spot these little sea wonders. Colorful, soft-bodied creatures are smaller than your thumb but glow like underwater jewels. They're not just pretty, they help keep the ocean clean, tiny, quiet workers in the giant world beneath the waves. Waterfall from nowhere. No one expected this surprise in Chile's Colat National Park. One moment the cliff was quiet, and the next a thick ice cap cracked open. A massive waterfall came crashing down over 1.5 kilometers deep. Scary? Yes, but the view was so powerful, it left everyone frozen in awe. You wouldn't believe your eyes if you saw this, a tree burning from the inside out after a lightning strike. It looks unreal, like something from a movie, but this is real, and worse, these sparks sometimes start wild forest fires that spiral into disasters. The White Desert. There's a part of the Sahara that looks like it's made of snow. In Farafra, the sand isn't golden, it's white, smooth, bright, and beautiful. That color came from chalk rocks breaking down for thousands of years, turning this desert into a place tourists can't stop visiting. Ink River Mystery. A peaceful river suddenly turned pink. Locals were shocked. Some feared pollution, others thought it was a warning. Experts rushed to test the water, but even now, no one knows why it changed color. The mystery still hangs in the air. The giant dust monster. A driver saw something terrifying while heading home, a huge dust spiral rising into the sky. It looked like a living beast dancing on the road. He wisely stayed back and just watched. Some forces of nature are not to be messed with. Tsunami that traveled far. It was just a small river, calm, quiet. But suddenly, waves rocked the boats. These were echoes of a massive tsunami that had happened far away, yet its strength reached even this narrow stream. Nature's power truly knows no borders. Sea preacher warning. A young couple out at sea got the strangest visit. A huge sea creature swam close, but didn't attack. It circled their boat silently, as if trying to say something. Then, just like that, it disappeared. It left them stunned and slightly shaken. Ocean sandstorm. China often faces wild sandstorms, but this time was different. 5 waterspouts spun together on the sea. It looked like a scene from an apocalypse. Luckily, none of them touched land, but the fear of what could have happened still lingers. The swamp that eats everything. There's a swamp in Louisiana that's turning into a nightmare. A giant sinkhole caused by salt mining keeps growing. Trees, land, even parts of the road, everything is slowly being pulled in like a monster under the water, always hungry. Ice tsunami. Most tsunamis are made of water, but not this one. In freezing places, rising sea temperatures break apart ice. Then the wind picks it up and pushes it toward the land like a slow-moving wall. It looks harmless, but stopping it is nearly impossible. Volcano wakes up. A group of snowboarders were enjoying the snowy mountain view until smoke started rising from the peak. It wasn't fog, it was a sleeping volcano slowly waking up. Fun turned into fear, and they had to get off the mountain fast. City swallowed by the ground. Busy city streets hide a danger underfoot. Sinkholes. They can open up without warning, caused by water slowly eating the ground. One small crack turned into a huge hole and swallowed an entire car. 1 second you're driving, the next you're gone. Waterfall going upwards. A waterfall that flows up instead of down sounds fake, but it's real. In one coastal area, the sea wind is so strong it pushes falling water back up against the cliff. It's not magic, it's just the wind showing off its power. Trash in the ocean. Our oceans are in trouble. The surface might look fine, but beneath it is a different story. Piles of trash are floating and sinking deep into the sea, and what we see, that's just a small piece of a huge problem we created. Coral birth celebrate. There's a magical moment in the ocean when corals give birth. Tiny larvae all rise and float together like glowing stars. Then they settle on the seabed, building new coral colonies. It's nature's celebration of life, and it's truly beautiful to watch. If you enjoyed these mind-blowing moments, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more jaw-dropping content, and share this video with anyone who loves the wonders of nature. And hey, leave a comment below about which moment amazed you the most.